Here we're going to look at multiplying matrices, or a few examples of how to do that. And firstly on notation, AB without anything indicated, any symbol in between, is how we represent multiplication. Now the first thing you check when you're multiplying matrices is, do the dimensions match up in such a way that the multiplication is even possible. So what I mean by that is the dimensions of matrix A are 2 by 2 and matrix B 2 by 2, right? 2 rows, 2 columns. So this multiplication can only happen if these two numbers are the same. In other words, the number of columns in matrix A equals the number of rows in matrix B. So if that happens, we can actually do the multiplication. If it doesn't happen, you can't even do the multiplication. The other thing I want to point out is that your answer matrix is going to have dimensions given by those two outer numbers. So it's going to have dimensions 2 by 2 as well. Okay, and in the next example you'll see it's there's so many 2's in this example, but in the next example you'll see sort of more clearly how that works. So what I'm going to do is, I know my answer is going to be a 2 by 2, and I'm going to get that set up. I want to show you the computations kind of in the matrix itself. So I know it's a 2 by 2. I'm going to kind of dash in the regions here. So I'm going to first get the answer, or the entry, in row 1, column 1 of my of A times B. So the way you get that is you focus on row 1 of matrix A and multiply it times column 1 of matrix B. And I'm going to work across the rows in matrix A and down the rows in matrix down the columns rather. Down the column in matrix B. So here's how it works. And think back to the example we did when we did the sort of the Easter basket example. I do negative 2 times 3, and then I add that to 1 times negative 4. So I notice I multiplied row 1 of matrix A by column 1 of matrix B, and it produced the answer to row 1, column 1 of AB. Let's switch colors here, and let's do row 1 of matrix A times row 2 of matrix B. So that would be, since it's row 1, column 1, that's going to give me, I'm sorry, row 1, column 2, it's going to give me my answer in row 1, column 2 of AB. So I do negative 2 times 6, and I add to that 1, negative 2 times 6 plus 1 times 1. So why don't we, as we're doing this, let's just do the answers out, right? So negative 2 times 3 plus 1 times negative 4 gives you negative 10. And negative 2 times 6 plus 1 times 1 gives you negative 11. And let's go to a new color here. Now so we've already done all of row 1, right? This is all of row 1. So now let's focus on row 2. I'm going to multiply row 2 of matrix A by column 1 of matrix B. So that's 5 times 3 plus 2 times negative 4. And that gives me 15 plus negative 8, which is 7. And the last thing to do is just to do row 2, sorry, of matrix A times column 2 of matrix B. So that's 5 times 6 plus 2 times 1. And that gives me 32. And this is our answer. Okay, so I'll do another example a little bit more quickly, but notice the first thing you want to check are that the dimensions match up, and that as you're multiplying a certain row by a certain column, a certain row in matrix A by a column in matrix B, you're producing the answer to the element in that row and column in your answer. So let's do this example here. First, check that it'll work. The dimensions of this are a 1 by 3, 1 row, 3 columns. The dimensions here are a 3 rows, 2 columns. So these match up, so I can do the multiplication, and my answer is going to be a 1 by 2. So you don't have to write this out, I just want to indicate it so that you can prepare. So AB, if we have to multiply AB, would be a 1 by 2, so 1 row, 2 columns. Let me prepare a little bit more space there. So it's going to be -2 times, so I'm going to do column 1, there's only one column in A. I'm sorry, row 1, there's only one row in A. Row 1 times column 1 in B. So -2 times 1 plus 3 times -3 plus 4 times 4. And that answer is, if you multiply that out and add it up, you end up getting a 5. And then we're going to do row 1 of A by row or column 2 of B. -2 times 0 plus 3 times 2 plus 4 times -1. Kind of ran out of space there. That answer ends up being 2. And so there's our answer. And the dimensions, you'll notice, are 1 by 2. So one more example. Here I've got a matrix B here. I've got a 3 by 2. And this is a 1 by 3. So if I were to ask you to multiply matrix B, or find the answer to the product B times A, well, can we do that? The answer is no, because those don't match up. So this has no answer. Can't be done. However, if we try to do A times B, since the dimensions of A are a 1 by 3, and the dimensions of B are 3 by 2, and these match up, you actually can do the multiplication. And so I'll leave you to try that on your own.